Matthew 24:31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from end of heaven to the other.
Yeah, so from the four winds, man, north, east, south, and west, man, the whole globe has got Israelites on, man. You know?
So much different scriptures.
You got another
more?
one?
You want more?
Yeah, just keep them coming, man. Have you got one?
Yeah.
Alright, wait, hold on.
Sorry. What are we on?
The gospel going out to the whole world.
Okay. It's Revelation 7.
Oh, that's a spirit. That's a
Is that what you
spirit.
had?
Yeah.
So you read it.
I put that away. I got something else.
Okay. It's Revelation 7, and because I'm just going to say the point. Revelation 7:4, and it says, "And I heard the number of them that were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel."
Yeah, because if it was when you read the scripture of your house, I said many sheep have another fold. You know, that proves that it's not just the Jews. It's not just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man. There's 12,000. Let's get that in Revelation. 12,000. Wait, did we just read that? That's what so okay, man. My head's going. 12,000 out of each tribe, man. Okay. You know, that's exactly what it is, man. All right.
Ezekiel 36:19, and I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries. According to their way and according to their doings, I judged them. And when they entered unto the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, these are the people of the Lord, Yahweh, and are gone forth out of this land.
Yeah, because we went into their lands and we took on their customs. You know, we started worshipping their gods and stuff. Hence why we were talking about it earlier. When Paul started bringing these, Israelites that were, Hellenized, man, into the temple, the Jews were going mad. Like, how dare you bring these gutter rats into our holy temple, man? Talking about they can be saved too. These motherfuckers are heathens, man. You know, but it was his apostleship to be an apostle unto the Gentiles, man. The Israelites that had been scattered, man. Okay, because they were all up in. When you get into philosophy, all of that Plato and Aristotle and stuff like that, that's Jake, man. All right, you know.
So like it's interesting you brought that up, because when I was younger I used to be really like into philosophy. I mean, I didn't study it as a subject at school, but I always used to like just thinking about these things. So later on I started reading actual books by Aristotle. Like one particular book is the Nicomachean Ethics, and when I was reading it I was thinking, hang on a minute, this is stuff that I've thought all along, but someone else is articulating it and putting it down. And I thought later on that my spirit just vibed with that, if that makes sense. So and they had to have been Jake's.
That's the thing. I studied philosophy in school, and you read guys like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and all those guys, and it's like, yeah, what they're saying, the concept of it is true. The way they're going about it is wrong. You know, this element and that element and this form and that form. All that's when you know the scriptures, they're quoting scriptures in a roundabout way, man. But then later on down the line, you got people like Emmanuel Kant and all them Edomites that get in the mix.
Yeah.
That's when they start talking shit. And you can see the difference between the Greek philosophers and the English philosophers. And it's like, these guys are Israelites and you guys are Edomites, man.
That's right.
Because their wisdom, their philosophy actually made some sort of sense, which really goes back to the scriptures. But what you're talking about is your own opinion, man. And that's something that I realized when I studied that subject, is that those Greek philosophers always spoke of a higher power.
Right.
And that's the thing, they never said God, they always said a higher being or power, which is quite spiritual. But then when you read of English philosophers, it's all about my opinion, the early church, and what this guy did to influence that. And it's very interesting, man.
It's like even I believe it was either Aristotle or Socrates, and I believe it was a common theme amongst them Greek philosophers to be critical of democracy. Because it didn't resonate with their spirit, because they knew that they were Israelites, and democracy is not an Israelite custom.
So and when you go into when Apostle Paul and them, the apostles were on the scene, man, you had these guys on the scene too, man. They would go into the agora, and it's like pretty much it was an ancient speaker's corner, man. You could go here for a little bit of this, then you go hear the apostle speaking about that, but then obviously the power of the truth overpowered all of that, man. Okay? You know, but you had those philosophers back there talking and, you know, trying to make sense of the world, man. Okay.
This is 1 Corinthians 1:22. For the Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Yeah, you see, the Greeks seek after. When you read all these philosophers, man, it's nothing but wisdom in a roundabout way, man. You know, talking about the true form, you know, the purpose of life, you know, the existence. Okay, the scriptures speak about things seen and unseen. All right, Plato speaks about the forms. It's either Plato or Aristotle speaks about the forms, things seen and things unseen. You know, the corruption of the earth, but a perfect being outside of our entity. That's nothing but scriptures, man. All right, go on.
But we preach Mashiach crucified unto the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called both Jews and Greeks, Mashiach the power of the Most High and the wisdom of the Most High. Because the foolishness of Most High is wiser, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men.
Exactly, man. Because when you go back, when you think of it, you would have had all these guys, you know, teaching their own thing, and then you'd have people, oh, look at those guys, man. They got this group, this philosophy, that philosophy. So even the preaching of the gospel looked foolish, man. All right. But what does it say? The foolishness of the Most High is.
Because the foolishness of the Most High is wiser than men.
Exactly, man. So this looks silly, man. All right. When you at face value, if you could wipe your head of being an Israelite and just be a regular passerby, this looks silly.
Yep.
It's cold. You're outside. Nobody's listening.
Yep.
You're recording. You probably ain't got a big audience, so you're not gonna get a lot of views. You're
Yep.
talking to yourself. You know. You got this sign here. You're wearing this funny garment. All right. Looking all weird. All right. Come rain, snow, shine, whatever you're doing this. That's silly. All right. But really, that is the wisdom of the Most High, man.
Yep.
All right. Because if the Lord wanted to, He could have done this the so-called diplomatic way, man. He could have had, you know, men shoot up into Parliament and try and teach the truth that way and come with the suit. You know,
people of reputation.
Yeah.
You know, people that Jake will actually listen to.
The Lord could have done it that way, man. No, but he decided to do it this way, man. Because the Lord, when you read through the scriptures, the Most High he likes to do things the unpredictable way, man.
That's spirit. I've got a precept to go with what you're saying. Isaiah 55:8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts.
Yeah.
Neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord Yahweh Yahweh.
So your ways of intellect, your ways of this just seems the right way, your way of this is the way to go because this seems the smartest option, to the Most High, He's like, nah, I ain't dealing with that. I'm going to do what you think is stupid.
Yep.
I'm going to do what you think don't make any sense.
Yep.
I'm going to do what you think is going to end up failing, man. And that same avenue is going to be what's going to bring the truth, man. All right? That's why when Yahushua came on the scene, the main reason they didn't accept him, what, because of his profession or what? No, because he was from the actual direct lineage of King David, man. The main reason they didn't accept him is because he didn't come like a king, man. They expected a king to come and this great ruler to get involved with the politics of the Romans, and then through all of the talkings and the, you know, back and forth Brexit deal and all that type of shit, you know, yeah, we're gonna come to, you know, the kingdom of Israel. That's what they wanted, man. All right, so much so they even tried to, you know, when you're trying to like steer somebody in your way of thinking, what did they do to the Lord? They tried to make him a king.
Yeah.
And what did Yahushua do? He had to run from that, man, because that wasn't the way in which he came. The Lord came as, you know, not born in a palace or a mansion. All right, he was born in a stable, man, where animals eat from.
Because them guys, they knew about the Messiah coming, and they knew about the prophecy of the Messiah coming. They knew about the prophecy of Elijah coming. But the fashion of which he came in, they could not accept him, man. They thought that he was probably gonna show up in the sky with, you know, all these fireworks going on around him, you know.
Bodyguard.
You know, and then
I am King Yahushua.
zapping the Romans and shit like that, you know, like in this majestic way.
Yeah.
Second time is gonna come in that way, but at that time that wasn't the time, man. If you keep on reading what you're reading, 1 Corinthians,
Yeah, it wasn't the time for that.
tells you, it keeps saying, it keeps going on. But you know,
That's why even John, he asked, "Are you the one, man?" Because Yahushua hadn't yet started his ministry, so to speak. So they were people looking at him like, You know, are you the one? Because there's so many great things that's gonna happen from you, but you don't look like the candidate. Like even what's it? One of the, I think it was Philip, one of the disciples, man, and they said, oh, this guy, okay, so where's he from? Yeah, he's from Nazareth. What did they say? Can any good thing come from Nazareth?
That was one of his disciples. Yeah. What was that? Who was that, man?
I think because Nazareth is like in today's society, for you to be prime minister, you've got to go to Eton as a secondary school, and you either got to go to Oxford or Cambridge, one of them. If you don't go to Eton secondary school, you're not a choir boy when you're young, all right? And then you grow up going to Oxford or Cambridge. You can't be president. You can't be prime minister, man. All right. So for any good thing to happen, you gotta come. Like the elder was speaking about it last week, man. The glass ceilings, man. You could have the ability, but just because of your background, you're cancelled. Yeah, it's not gonna work out for you. So Nazareth was one of those places that was like, nah, man. Ain't no ruler coming out of Nazareth. Ain't no Messiah, no Savior coming out of the ghetto, man. Forget that. Okay. So that's why they said, can any good thing come from there? You know?
But I have one thing that you're absolutely right what you just said about these prime ministers. Because I did a little research myself, and when you check out these prime ministers in this country, they all went to the same school. Whether it's prime ministers going all the way back to the early 20th century and onwards, they all went to the same schools. And there's 3 schools. It's either Oxford or Cambridge, and the one you said, Eton.
Eton, yeah.
So if you want to make a difference in the world, like the brother said, you got to go to them schools. if you want to be president of this country.
Because they won't give you that elite education of how to think, all right, you know, how to look at the people. Because when you go to these schools, right, they had a show on TV years ago about one top private school, and the education they learn is different from what regular people learn, man. You gonna learn about slavery and history and this and that, and no, these guys are actually getting into maps of Napoleon and stuff like that, the real geography of stuff, man. Okay, you think, oh yeah, I'm a historian because I can go 400 years back in time. These guys were studying warfare from the start, man. Okay, their level of mathematics and science is different, man. Why? Because they're on a higher wavelength. They're the rulers and you're the subjects, man. Yeah. All right, they go to school to learn to rule. You go to school to learn to serve. There's a big difference, man. Very big difference. So like, if you don't go to one of them ruler schools, you ain't gonna be a ruler.
That's why you can't just get in, man.
Yeah.
Even if you have the money, you can't get in.
Yeah.
No, because you don't belong to that class of people. It's a invitation only kind of school.
They call it the initiation.
Yeah.
That's why even some of them, you got to have like some sort of a high level skill, like learning how to play the violin, or they call it equestrian dressage, which is like fancy horse riding, you know, all that kind of stuff. So they can't just accept you on your grades as well. You got to prove to them that you're of that class.
Hey, you got a scripture? Anyone got a scripture?
I've got a precept. Acts 4:13 says, now when they saw that the boldness of Peter, John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua.
Yeah, because Yahushua wasn't dealing with, there was all kind of men among the disciples, man. You know, you had tax collectors, you had guys that had good jobs, man. You know, because people like to paint it, they were all bums, man. Well, even the fisherman, that wasn't the highest, that wasn't like an elite profession, but you made a lot of money from it. Yeah. You know, same with carpentry and stuff like that. You know, but they perceived that Peter and John weren't learned men in the sense